Shivaya, everyone. Welcome to the Successful Goddesses program. Uh, this is such a treat today, everyone. We have a very special guest, Cynthia Sue Larson. For those who she is new to, her work is really involved with reality shifters. And um, uh, for those who I'm new to, I'm your hostess, Catalina Angel. And this is going to be an interview style discussion today with Cynthia. And I have been looking forward to this for weeks since we originally scheduled it, which was at the time of her birthday. So, Cynthia, we are going to open that up. And as with all of Goddess Guru celebrations, all right, because Cynthia is that in her own light. She is just an amazing being. I'm going to share a little bit about that for you in just a moment. However, this is a part of honoring her, celebrating her lifetime of work. She is one of the most dedicated, beautiful, long time goddess friends, associates. I have marveled in her work for the moment I met her, okay, which was in the 2000s, maybe over a decade ago, like 12, 13 years ago. Anyhow, a bit about Cynthia Sue Larson. She is a best-selling author of several books, including Quantum Jumps, Reality Shifts, and High Energy Money, right? Yeah, we like that. Money is a great thing. So is health, so is wellness, so is happiness, along with beautiful relationships such as ours, too, right? They all flow together. They're all important, okay? And Cynthia, she has a degree in physics from UC Berkeley, an an MBA degree, a Doctor of Divinity. No doubt about it, folks. Really. And she is also a very fine martial artist, okay? Artists with money, okay? She is an artist, written word author, artist, and she has a second degree black belt in Kook Sool Wan. And if I have that correct, Cynthia, Is that a form
right.
of karate?
Yes, it's a Korean martial art, so it's very similar. Karate would be a different language, so I think that's Japanese. Kukso Wan is the Korean martial art of it's an organization that takes the tribal knowledge and wisdom together with the Buddhist teachings and also and the royal court. So it brings all three together with an internal and an external focus. Really good for qigong work, pressure points, healing, and it's just an extraordinarily comprehensive martial art.
Wow. Okay. I'm super excited about that because I remember when you were going through that journey with, she's also an amazing family woman as well. She was going through that journey together with her beloved husband, Richard. They did it together as a duo. I was so impressed. I was like, wow. All right. A little bit more about Cynthia is that she is a founder of RealityShifters. She's a president of International Mandela Effect Conference, managing director of Foundations of Mind, and creator and host of Living the Quantum Dream. I'm like, wow, and just a little bit more. She has been featured in numerous shows, including Gaia, the History Channel, Coast to Coast AM, One World with Deepak Chopra, BBC, and Cynthia's favorite saying for years and years and years. It's like her motto. She always reminds us in every situation, how good can it get? And let me tell you, when you get into the graces of this goddess, Cynthia Sue Larson, she's going to show you all about it. Okay. She also has a free monthly enzyme, and let me tell you, it's extremely beefy with what she rolls out every month, and you can find that at www.realityshifters.com. And today we're going to go ahead and open up the program. As Cynthia and I were discussing before we began the broadcast, coming up in a couple of days on February 3rd, which is this Wednesday, she has a new program, and I'm gonna hand the conversation over to her. It's called IMEC Open Tables. And Cynthia, would you like to share with the listeners more about what IMEC stands for, IMEC, and what you'll be doing this Wednesday? It's super exciting.
Of course, yes, it's very exciting indeed. We'll be, this is our first episode of a new show based with the group of those of us who are on the board at International Mandela Effect Conference, which is myself, and then Christopher Anatra, the quantum businessman. He's got that channel on YouTube. Then we'll have also Jerry Hicks, the Dark Wolf's Den channel on YouTube. And he also hosts a show on Rip and Rabbit, actually a couple shows, I think. And then Shane Robinson of Unbiased and On the Fence on YouTube. So the four of us will be coming together in this episode to discuss, first of all, a couple of interesting Mandela effects that have happened recently that are very interesting in terms of what they mean for humanity and might indicate some interesting timeline choices that we collectively are making. Very positive news. Also, we'll be talking about the recent debut on HBO of a program that shared some information from our first conference in Idaho. That was in Sun Valley, Idaho. Ketchum was the small town we met at for the conference, and it was featured in the show How To with John Wilson, which is currently showing on HBO. I think you can maybe watch it other places too. And it's episode 3. It was How to Improve Your Memory, and they delved into the Mandela effect. So it's quite fun. I think you'll really enjoy our program on Wednesday. We'll be going a little behind the scenes on that HBO and talking about what the Mandela effect means in terms of that debut on the sort of to collective consciousness and the general public who might not have been aware of some of these topics, such as manifestation and certainly the Mandela effect.
Wow. Wow, 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 wow. Well, it was very fun this morning over here because from my viewpoint, folks, she's like the queen of Mandela effect, shifting, reality shifters. These are like timeline shifts. Okay. So Cynthia, something I wanted to share with you immediately. It was so much fun. Last night before I went to go rest for the evening, right? I was looking inside the refrigerator and I'm like, you know what? I better prepare some juice for more hydration if I want some later in the evening or get up and I want some fresh squeezed juice, right? So I made a bottle of fresh orange and grapefruit juice, right? Because I just wanted something fresh. Everything else was already consumed earlier in the day. Today, when I went to go wake up, I went into the refrigerator. The juice that I made was still there, but there was some extra coconut milk and coconut that I have flavored with fresh strawberries. And there was this whole jar. Let me tell you, before I went to bed, that was not there last night. Or this morning, I opened the fridge and I'm like, where'd that come from? Here we go. We shifted. So I was laughing because this is a beautiful, just that little juice story that I shared right now is okay. Cynthia, her specialty is in that, though. Like this little example I'm giving you about the juice, right? She's the queen of all that, right? She documents, writes about it, speaks about it for years and years and years and years. And
Well, I love to share the stories too. So that's a big part of what I do through the newsletter that you mentioned. And that's, of course, on that website, realityshifters.com. And then, as you mentioned, each month, I like to share the firsthand reports from people all around the world who are noticing these things like you just noticed, where you open the refrigerator and there's something there that wasn't there before. And you know for sure that that's true. So you're a firsthand reporter of the experience. And that's so important. So for more than 20 years, going on, I think more than 21 years, we've been documenting this with the location, the dates, the times, and who experienced it. So it now is definitely one of the largest bodies of evidence online of all of these kinds of experiences, which I feel very grateful to be a part of that, to show that these experiences have been happening for a long time. Because some people look at conspiracy theories that might attribute negative rationale or reasons behind it. And I like to show, no, 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 no. This has been going on actually thousands of years. We've got some evidence to show that. But furthermore, we've been documenting it here for, like I said, more than 21 years on my website and other. I've since found out that there are researchers in England who are doing amazing research and have done amazing research. Mary Rose Barrington is who I'm thinking of, and she had written lots of books on, she called it just one of those things. So JOTT. And her research then goes back to the turn of the century, like the late 1800s into the 1900s. So there you go. We've got tons of reports of these little reality shifts. You might think that's not a big deal. Something just showed up. It's a big deal when it happens to you. So thank you for sharing your experience, Catalina.
Yeah, I mean, that's just like a little bit of juice about health and wellness, right? That I utilize, to support my physical body temple, right? And I'm like, this is just awesome. I am aware of these dynamics daily, and how you manifest it, though. Here's our queen of it, right? Who's got all the documentation over there. Also, something else I wanted to celebrate about you, okay? Because this particular program is in celebration of you, your lifelong work as a successful goddess from my viewpoint, right? And with how I view you. And recently, Cynthia had put out a photo of her from 1979. Were you in high school then?
Yes, I was in high school. So it was actually 78. I was 16 years old. Yeah.
You see the thing, and I swear I read it was 1979. Okay, well, what have you? Okay, 1978. And I was looking at this beautiful photo of her as a teenager, right? Here we are. And then she put the photo like side by side. Okay. So you'd see her 1978. And then what she looks like now in the 2021 timeline, right?
Right.
This gal here that you are all tuning into today clearly is embracing Thoughtney Youth Codes. All right. I was like looking at her then, I'm looking at her now. I mean, let me tell you, there is such, like, I'm telling you, I might even have to get out a pair of tweezers or like a little millimeter measure. This goddess is still sporting the same fabulous look. Okay. So 78, that'd be 88, 98, 2008, 2018. Am I getting this right?
Yeah.
Plus 3 more years. Okay. So a 43-year span, and look how amazing she is. If you visit her, I believe it was posted on your Facebook or in your Reality Shifters.
I think I just put that on Facebook, but maybe it was just one of those fun things then and now. They had a challenge. So I thought, oh, that's cool. I've got a picture from 1978 and I've got one from this month. So I put them side by side. Yeah, I could put it on my, I have a bigger Facebook page, which is doesn't have that cutoff limit of how many friends you can have. So that's where I should put it. But I had it just on my personal page, which is maybe, hopefully everyone can see it at least, but I can't accept all the friendship requests. But I also have the author page, and I do respond to all the messages I get. So
Great. Yeah. Well, if for some reason any of you aren't able to see that, you'll just simply have to accept my word for it, because and I'm just sitting there looking at her like beautiful flowing hair, and I'm like, wow, she's really got this beauty thing going on. And um, whenever I see a new photo of Cynthia, she is always sporting the most magnificent energy through her eyes, through her smile, through her languaging, whether she is speaking um, and or speaking through written word. Okay. And that is something I just wanted to cherish and hold near and dear uh, to my heart, because it's something I really appreciate about you.
oh my, you're gonna make me cry. It's so sweet. Thank you. You really touched my heart. So thank you for being so appreciative. I was not expecting that. I thought we'd be just talking and chatting. I didn't expect all this. So wow. Does feel like my birthday. Thank you.
Well, that's what it is. When um, the annual celebration uh, approaches for someone as amazing as you are, this is the time we could say guru, we could say goddess. However, I'm going to put those two together for this lovely lady here, right? This is what it's about. These are what celebrations are about, folks. And here's the thing, we're celebrating a live goddess who's here in human form. Okay, this is what it's about. Sure, we can go look to Greek mythology or um, uh, Eastern, like Buddhist mythology or Hindu mythology or Kemet Egyptian mythology or what have you, and connect to goddesses there who are in multi-dimensional forms, who are alive, who make contact. However, this being's here. She's live here in mortal form now in the 2021 timeline. And we are honoring you. That is what today's program is about. Celebrating you, celebrating your birthday, right? Even though it may feel belated, but let me tell you, that celebration energy is what continues to flow, right? When you are here in the present moment.
Oh, thank you. And I love how you're doing this because I can really feel it. And this is like the best manifestation energy there is when people tune into the ability to receive all that blessing. And sometimes we, for some reason, cut it off. And I love your show right now. I love what you're doing because you're just showing we don't have to do that. We can receive it and, allow it in. That love, that unconditional, blessed love and appreciation, let it in. And I'm really, so thank you. It's a great gift you're sharing with me.
Yeah. Well, this is what we should, from my viewpoint. And I have a unique way of being and viewing certain things, and I'm good with that, right? And all I knew is when I saw it was your birthday, and I just knew within my heart, guess what? We're celebrating Cynthia now. Now, it took us a few weeks to get scheduled, coordinated, aligned, right?
Yes,
I would have
yes.
been fine doing it a few weeks ago. However, we had to get coordinated, and I just opened my arms and I just said, yes, we're making this happen. Regardless of whatever it's going to take, we are making it happen. And here we are.
That's beautiful.
Yes. And Cynthia, is there anything else within the highlights of the newsletter that you released here at the beginning of February? Like today, or it arrived yesterday, something
Yes.
like that, right? And or maybe 2 days ago. Again, you see the timelines get a little bit
Oh, yes.
right? And um that you want to bring forth with where we're at now, with what you're developing through your work, in addition to that iMac open tables that we already
Oh,
discussed.
sure. Absolutely. Now, people that are not familiar with my newsletter, I can share a little bit of what's in it. So then you get a taste of it. And like you said, you can read all the issues online at realityshifters.com and then decide if they're all there. And then if you want to, you can see, including this one for February 2021. And this one is extraordinary because it features a video that I just did and a blog post. And so frequently that'll be the case. I'll talk about recent things I've published. And it was in response to someone wondering what to do because she was very sensitive and she felt like things, people are all excited. Like we have, like, things are supposed to be better with various political and various medical things. But she felt like she's so sensitive that it didn't always feel that good to her. And what could she do to try to get back into, like you would say, a positive timeline? So I did have a blog post to address like what happens if you are feeling anxious or sad or angry, how you can recognize that you can select, if you will, a higher perspective. And it's a fun video because it shows literally how to do that. I give a demonstration of moving to a higher dimensional level of consciousness. And so I've got a link to the blog and the video right there in the newsletter. And if you want to know what else is in the newsletter, it's so exciting because I do share all these experiences. I'd love to share yours in a future newsletter, Catalina. I would just ask you to see what I do is I ask people, please email it to me. And then if Catalina says yes, then she'll send like, okay, here's what happened. And she'll describe, I was making this beautiful juice the night before, like I always do for the next, or you do it often the next morning. So it's not like this always happens, but the next morning when you open the refrigerator, there's something extra. It's this coconut water with strawberry that had not been there the night before. So I've got experiences like that. This month I've got one from Canada where a woman was on the ski slopes to visit where she used to ski. There's even a photo of her. And her name is Jennifer. She was skiing and now she guides people and does this for a living, takes them out to wilderness places. But the extraordinary thing is she was skiing down the slopes and she got nostalgic. She was back at a ski run where she'd first learned how to ski. She was on her snowboard that day. She went into the little gift shop and said, like, oh, good, you've got little signs of the peanut trail. The peanut trail is where she learned to ski. So she'd chosen that. And then one of the double diamond, black diamond trails and she put them in a little, the shopkeeper kept them for her. And she went back out to snowboard some more. And she was having regrets, like, darn it, I love this peanut trail so much. I should get 2 of those, not just one. I'll have to correct the order when I get back. Hopefully they still have some more and I'll switch it. So she finishes her run, comes down to the shop, goes in, checks her bag. They've been holding it for her. She looks inside and guess what? It's got not just one peanut trail, but 2 peanut trail signs, as if she had already decided that and done that right from the start. And she was like, what is this? Such a fun experience. So she shares that. And I've got a story from Sweden. I've got stories from the United States. They're extraordinary. We've got a new Mandela effect featuring Cloris Leachman. You'll just love it. So people that like to hear these uplifting, interesting, informational, and I find them very empowering stories. It's full of those. So I've got those. Then I've got a question and answer section. And sometimes I review a book, not this time, but then I've got an interview with Grant Cameron. He's an author of a wonderful book that I just read about. It's access contact modalities. So I talk with him about what does that mean, and it's really learning to turn off the left brain so you can directly receive information from divine source, the cosmic mind, whatever you want to call that, and just receive without our left brain sometimes just thinking that we know what's going on and think too early naming things and pinning them down before we really want to do that. So how to get back into that childlike wonder. Just an extraordinary book. And I do talk with him in an interview for Living the Quantum Dream. So those are some highlights from, like you said, a very meaty issue of Reality Shifters, which I do publish every month.
Yeah, yeah. I am super excited about that. And for some reason, as you were sharing that story, it reminded me of a story that happened recently where I manifested a $150 check from Wells Fargo Bank. Now, I don't even have an account at Wells Fargo, right? They sent an official letter to me, right? Now, what had happened is I had ordered a book called The Good Millionaire, right? You know Harv's work, right?
I think so. Yeah, I've heard of it. Yeah.
Yeah, T. Harv. Anyways, he's well-known financial guru. Okay. Anyways, I got the book for one of my clients and made sure this client got the book, that I got the book, so we'd be on the same page, right? The book lands at my post. All of a sudden, this extra $150, right? It may seem like a small amount of money to some people, right? Other people to me, I mean, money's money. It's all good to me, right? I was laughing till to the hilt because of the miraculous form. And they wrote me an official letter, sent it, and I was like, wow, right?
So what did it say? It said that this is from your account, an account that you don't have, or what?
Right. It said, we're sending you this money, right? I don't even have an account, right? My account's the Bank of America. I have a PayPal account, right?
Right.
And the letter said, oh, this is an apology. I had a Wells Fargo account like long time ago, like 10 years ago, right?
Right.
But it had been long gone closed. Years and years.
And it was all balanced out. It's not like you knew for a fact I still had money in it or anything.
No, yeah. No, it had been shut down. This wasn't a refund check.
That's what's so amazing. I used to work for a bank, So when you close an account, it really is a balancing out for people that don't know that. It's not like the bank is going to have little, like, oh, there's this extra 150. When they close the account out, that's not going to happen. The only reason that might happen, and this would be something if you want to check it or not, but you might have written a check to someone and then they never took it or cashed it, but that didn't even happen. No explanation. I love it.
No, there is. But that wasn't what they wrote in the letter, right? In the surprise letter, Cynthia. What they wrote was that we may have held up your money way back when, and this is an apology note, and here's some money in case we caused you any financial harm way back when, like 10 years ago. It was an apology.
That's so wonderful.
And I was like, okay, I'm welcoming that, right? And anyways, I have I shared it with a few people. I'm going to get that out more so people can see this amazing manifestations. Again, it's like what? Someone sending me a surprise check,
Yes.
an account from 10 years ago. Okay, this is part of shifting. How many times does the bank say, wow, I'm sorry?
Mhm. Usually only if there's a lawsuit or something like that. So it's
No,
very,
and this wasn't a lawsuit.
I love it.
I wasn't a part of. So, anyways, anyhow, oh yeah, me too. And you should have seen me. And I'm like, I went to the bank and I said to the bank branch manager, can I open up an account here? We're gonna invest the money back in here. So we're still waiting to see, how that's gonna manifest. However, because they were so generous, right? By sending that energy of apology, sending the money. I embraced the money, right?
Yes.
Living artist with money, miracle manifesting, right? Cynthia knows all about that. She writes about that in her books,
Yes.
right?
Oh, yes.
And
Yeah,
yeah.
so in I've experienced money showing up in my wallet, like one bill at a time, literally, where it was a wallet that didn't have that money in it to begin with. That was an opportunity for prosperity that I encountered going to a restaurant locally here in the Bay Area where I live with, at the time, my two young daughters. And I described that in my book, High Energy Money. It was so much fun because we'd gone out to a restaurant called, I think Chevy's is the name of it. They had the restaurant in Alameda. So it was a big outing for us to go to a restaurant with my two little daughters. And after we'd finished the meal, I was explaining that it's a good idea for us to leave a tip. And because I was paying with a credit card for the meal, but I thought waitresses work so hard. It would be nice to give, a cash tip to really honor their service. And I thought this is a good learning opportunity for my daughters. Little did I know what I was about to be demonstrating. I mean, I thought I was just going to show, like, let's just make sure we have a good way to honor and respect the service staff. So I reached in my wallet and I just had like $1 bill was all that was the cash in there for the tip. And I thought, well, this is a good start. I put it on the table and I shut the wallet and I said, well, do you think I should look again? Because that was all that was in there that time, but maybe, remember, these are young children that I've got with me, like 7 and 9 years old or something. And they said, yeah, let's look again. Like, okay, that's the right spirit, by the way. That kind of like, yeah. So I opened the wallet and sure enough, lo and behold, there's another dollar bill. So I pull it out. And now my daughters one of them is really revved. The other one's kind of like, yeah, this happens. Kids are funny. And so I put the second one down, closed the wallet. And I said, well, this is still a good start, but I think we need more than that for this tip. So shall we look again? Oh yeah, you get the picture. So dollar bill after dollar bill coming out of this wallet. And this is not a magic trick. It's not a magic wallet. This was not something, I didn't stash hidden dollar bills. Nobody
Oh, I
did.
see it's a wallet. Yeah, I want one of those. Oh, it's like the never-ending stream of money. Oh, let's keep looking.
Well, I just take what I need. That's something else. I like to live ethically, which is I believe in a win-win. So I really do believe in how good can it get for everyone. So it's not just about me. I feel like heaven can be heaven on earth when everyone is prosperous, everyone is healthy, everyone is loved, respected, and honored. And so this is my vision of heaven on earth. So for me, it's not about like I got mine and who cares about them. That's ridiculous. It's much more. I think that happened because I was in such a good place and it was something I knew I needed. My daughters are open-minded. We were ready for that kind of a miracle. But I've since experienced all kinds of money miracles. Usually what happens, and I told you I worked for a bank. I worked in information security, information technology. I was heavily involved and I've got an MBA degree. So I'm not making math errors or anything like that. So what happens when I get extra money in the account? Usually it couldn't show up like one or more $1,000. That's like it's always been there. So when I go back to try to do, it'll surprise me. Like, whoa, that's a lot of money. And like, well, that wasn't there. And then sometimes in the early days, I would do the forensic accounting. Like, okay, obviously there was a bank error somewhere, but I should have caught this in the last month. Let me just go through the whole last month. It's not there. Okay, I'll go. Maybe I was just really out of it. Okay, we'll go back farther. Not there. And then it didn't matter how far back I went. The money had always been there now, but it had not always been there before. Or I would have planned things differently for vacations and you know, this, that, and the other. So it's wonderful, and I think it's fun when it just. I don't have any questions asked. I don't investigate. Like, we must get to the bottom of this, because it's like you said. It's you don't want to question that kind of a miracle. Well, he didn't say that, but that's my philosophy. It's really obviously something that is from divine source, if you want to call it that. To me, that's where it comes from. To me, every good thing comes from cosmic mind, divine source, you know, whatever you want to call that. I don't think it cares what we call it, but some people call it God. And it's that feeling of source and love and unconditional blessing. And so just opening ourselves to it is, I think, the greatest gift we can give ourselves and each other.
Flowers in my mini garden out front. Okay. I live on a property, right? It's myself on the residence, right? And then there's a neighbor here on land. Okay. So, right, my now they have geraniums too, right? There's
Yes.
all like going, right. And I try to help them out a bit, but that is theirs, right? Mine are like, right? We've been through some very, we experienced some nice days. However, it has really been dipping into the, like 40s over here. I mean, that is cold for where I'm at in South. Cynthia's in Northern California, so it's a bit cooler up there. However, I'm here in Baja California, Mexico. All right. And we've been having some very, very windy, some stormy and very cold temperatures.
Wow.
My geraniums, I looked out the window today. They're blossoming, right? And so these are miracles too, simply with the elemental uh, connections. We could say nature angels, elementals of the earth. Okay, their goodness. We got it going on in my mini garden. I went out there, looked before our gathering today. There was 2 more fresh blooms, and I'm like, and I mean, just like it, we would be like in springtime, in the middle of summer. Meanwhile, you know, it's cold. You know, we've gone through these things. All, you know, other areas, all the leaves are off the trees. However, I have this geranium, right? And yesterday I saw a dandelion blooming, and I'm like, ooh, you know, full yellow dandelion, right? And these are magical manifestations, um, you know, that you were speaking about too, yet in a different type of form.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah, we can see these blessings everywhere. I feel like every good thing comes through. And I'm so glad you brought up these elves, fairies, and you know, whatever you want to call them. It's like they are, the
Elementals.
elementals are great. I love them too. And you can really feel that they're in our homes too. You can really coordinate the energy of your home by recognizing you've got a lot more support. You might think like it's just me and it got so much to do. Don't think that way. Recognize that you're able to send out the intention to your helpers, like this is your team. It's like, what are we doing today? Well, it's all about health and joy and ease and prosperity and fun. You can put that out there and get so much more back. And you know, you can find it in your garden, in your home, with your hair. It doesn't matter what you're cooking, you know, everything.
Now, Cynthia, you have a plant in your background. What kind of plant is that?
Well, it's a little tree, and I forget the exact name of it, but I got it from my daughter when she was she would get straight A's occasionally, and when that happened, I'm like, oh my gosh, let's celebrate. Pick the store, pick whatever you want within reason, and let's celebrate that you know, accomplishment for the year. This is what she chose, was this beautiful tree, and she did have it for a while, but it had died off. She thought it was dead, but it wasn't dead at all. You know, it just needs just needs that love again. So it's now it's getting quite big for a little tiny tree, but it's
Well,
beautiful.
I know I'm looking at the stalk or the stem and I'm like going, huh?
Well, it's
You
kind of,
know,
it's sort of like a little bonsai tree. It would be a giant tree in nature, but it is giant actually for a little bonsai tree.
right. Yeah, I mean, it looks very tall with this, you know, thin little stem and the fact that it's standing up like that with the bloom on it is a
Yes,
miracle.
it is a miracle. Yeah, trees are such a miracle. I feel like we're so blessed to have trees or canopies of trees at different heights and levels. I've got another tree in the house, a ficus, because I feel like plants are pets too. I did a video on that on YouTube. And I realized, speaking of YouTube, just for anybody that's interested in what's happening in a couple of days, that I didn't say where to find it, but there is a YouTube channel called International Mandela Effect Conference. And that would be what you type in to find the correct channel. And it's show it I didn't say what time. It'll be 4:30 Eastern time this Wednesday. So that would be 1:30 if you're on the West Coast, like you and I are. But if you're back east, then it's 4:30 Eastern time, and that'll be a live show, so you can join in the chat. You can comment, be part of the conversation. We'll have a special Q&A at the end to cover the dialogue and the ideas that come up throughout the show. So love people to join us for that.
That is absolutely spectacular. And Cynthia, one more thing before we wrap up today's program. Um, I wanted to ask you if uh, you were open to sharing with the listeners and the viewers here. Um, are there any successful, like morning, like rituals or steps or things that you do that assist you with supporting your daily journey of bringing forth what you do? I was wondering if you could share a little bit about that with us and what that may look like to you, because that may be helpful for somebody else.
Yes. Well, this is a strange time right now. Obviously, we're in a pandemic. So, what I used to do and what I'm doing now are sort of two different things, but there's a common element no matter what's going on, regardless if I'm traveling, whatever. And so, if you strip it down to the basics, that would begin with just a checkpoint in the morning to pay attention, just with the first conscious breaths upon awakening, like how am I feeling? And if I feel like there's something a little bit off energetically, that just means let's fix that. If I had something I think is a nightmare, that's definitely let's fix that, because it's just showing like there's something energetically off right here. So just like if you're catching a cold and it means you want to drink hot beverages, stay hydrated, get plenty of rest, if you wake up and you're feeling like that was a little weird, there's just a lot of weird stuff all the time. But so it's no big deal. You don't need to make a big deal out of it, but you want to make sure, let's clear it. So the first thing I do is just clear whatever that is. And if I'm so sensitive, I'll feel things collectively in the global consciousness level. So sometimes I feel like, whoa, we're in quicksand today. And then sometimes I'll do my best and try to lift us collectively out of it. And sometimes it feels like we're still kind of in quicksand. I'm like, well, that's the heavy lifting for the morning. And then I'll just continue to lift myself up as much as I can too, because I remember how I can get into that bliss state of pure unconditional love, of just feeling so much joy, so much ecstasy. And that is the root of all prosperity, all health, all well-being. So it's really starting with that checkpoint in the morning. How am I feeling? Working with breath and intention and movement, which is just qigong. You can do this lying down. You can do it anywhere. Like you might wake up on an airplane back when we're traveling again, and you can be like, time to do that thing. I'm waking up for the first time today. Let's just take a checkpoint. It sounds so simple, but to me, it's the basis for everything. So that's the key. And then, of course, I would love to add that special spice. The question, how good can it get? Even if it feels like we're in quicksand, it's like, yeah, but how good can it get?
That's right. Yeah, well, that is a lovely way to set forth the day. That is super awesome. That was one of the things that you and I shared. Because I'll let you know, like last week I was doing super great with the dreams, right? Past couple days I was like, oh, right? And I'm like, what the heck's going on, right? So, similar to you, I was kind of like doing that. I'm like, okay, how are we gonna slough this off here, right? Um, and uh and this morning, I went into my uh, yoga, tai chi, qigong, um, energy movement, stretches, vibration, set up a sacred space to honor self. And I went and did that to help move, shift the energy around me. Then went into water to sprinkle water. Often I will take bath, to with supportive, vibrational things for like hair, skin, or what have you. Okay, and then continue to keep um, uh, doing that so that it brings me into where we're at now. Continual now. Supportive focuses, right?
Right.
With that mindset you were talking about when you woke up, you're like, how good can it get? Right? How do I move myself into that bliss state? Okay.
Yes.
Which is part of the endocrine, pituitary, hypothalamus accessing. Okay. And this is just as important. Um, these endocrine systems, and or we could say for those who are very well familiar with basic chakras, right? It's all important. These are important up here, your crown, your energy, where you're receiving that God or goddess like connection, right? And then that inner viewpoint, and then speaking truth, like we're connecting now, opening up the fifth chakra, right? This is super important. Helps open up the energy, opening up heart energy. Okay. That helps open up power energy, right? These are all equally important. Sacral energy within the womb, even for masculine beings,
Mhm.
that womb chakra is there, super important. And even with the base, right? That is all important. Okay, it's all important.
Yes.
So, Cynthia, thank you
Oh,
very much from the
mm,
fullness of this heart, this little tiny heart here, all of our hearts, your heart
oh,
connection with mine, supporting listeners, their hearts as well. And I appreciate you all who are tuning in to listen and view today's program, where we have been celebrating
mm,
this amazing being, Cynthia Sue Larson. Again, you could find her at www.realityshifters.com. I would highly suggest, if you're resonating with this goddess, connecting on that newsletter. She'll keep you up to speed on the latest. She'll also show you more goodness about what she provides in life for people. All right.
uh,
And remember, her program coming up February 3rd. That's this
yes.
Wednesday, 1:30 p.m. Pacific and 4:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. If you are in the uh, Northern America, okay, continent, and otherwise check your local time zones. And again, they can go to YouTube and see the
Yes.
broadcast
Just
as
go,
well.
yeah, go to YouTube, and it's the International Mandela, that's Mandela Effect Conference. And that's the channel. And then on the day, on that Wednesday, you'll see that it'll be doing a countdown, like a scheduled video appearance right before it goes to start. So just be patient, and then it'll pop up right at, might be there a little early before 1:30, and then you can click on that, and then you can join in the chat early usually and start talking and saying hi to some of the other people that are like-minded and interested in this topic. So it's a great community. Love to see you guys there. And
Yeah, this is going to be super great. Will it be recorded in
yes.
the event
Oh,
somebody
yes, yes.
isn't able to align with that time? Say they're
Oh
working
gosh,
or
yes.
what have you.
Thank you for making that point. Yes. So a couple hours after that, so about 3:30 or 4 o'clock California time on the West Coast here, it'll be a video. It won't be a live event anymore because it will have happened. But there's no problem. We can still see the chat maybe, but you can definitely see the video. So the video will definitely be there.
Yeah, live is always best.
I think so. Yeah.
You get into the live energy. You're there joining live.
Oh, yes.
That's always the best. However, if it doesn't work out with their schedule or what have you, they're going to have it recorded as well.
Yes.
That is awesome. All right.
Yay.
Great. Cynthia, thank you very much for being here today. We appreciate you from the fullness of our hearts.
I feel it. Thank you so much, Catalina. You're such an angel. I know you pronounce your name Angel, but you're an angel to me. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you're welcome.